My name is Ethan Morales, and I used to think trust was the foundation of everything worth having: love, family, friendship, even career. For most of my 33 years, I believed that if you were honest, worked hard, and treated people right, the universe would somehow reward you. Until the night before my wedding. I was a senior project manager at a cybersecurity startup called NimbusGuard, based in South Lake Union, Seattle. My salary hovered around $185,000 a year, not rich, but comfortable. I lived in a sleek apartment overlooking Capitol Hill, owned a decent car, and had what people politely call a stable life. If you had asked anyone around me, they would have said I was living my own Pacific Northwest version of the American dream. And maybe I was. I was engaged to Lauren Pierce, a 31-year-old marketing coordinator for a boutique agency near the lake. She was beautiful in that composed, effortless way, not the kind of beauty that demands attention, but the kind that holds it quietly. She had a sharp wit, a soft laugh, and a warmth that could make even the most anxious room feel like home. We met at a mutual friend's 4th of July barbecue in 2022. She was standing near the grill, holding a beer, arguing with someone about whether deep dish pizza counted as real pizza. I liked her immediately: confident, quick, unafraid to challenge anyone. Within 3 months, we were inseparable. By the end of that year, I was down on one knee in front of the Cary Park skyline, proposing under a violet sky. It felt right. It felt earned. My parents, Daniel and Elena Morales, adored her. My mother said she was the kind of woman who fills a house with light. My father, who could be skeptical of anyone new, took to her almost instantly. "Smart eyes," Head said after meeting her. "That girl thinks before she speaks. You've done well, son." Dad was 61. Had been a real estate broker for over 3 decades and had built his reputation on trust. The irony of that still burns. My mom, Elena, was his quiet anchor. They had been married for 35 years, and I'd always thought their relationship was the gold standard. Dad still opened doors for her, brought her coffee in the mornings, and called her sunshine. When people talked about lasting love, I pictured them. So when Dad welcomed Lauren like she was the daughter he never had, I took it as a blessing. He'd invite her to family dinners, share old stories, even teach her how to make his grandmother's paella recipe. Watching the two of them laugh together made me proud. It meant she fit. It meant the universe had aligned. Our wedding was scheduled for October 14th, at St. Andrew's Church in Queen Anne, followed by a reception at the Museum of History and Industry. We had 150 guests coming: family, friends, colleagues, people who had seen me grow from an ambitious kid into the man I thought I'd become. I had spent months planning everything: the bourbon bar, the live jazz trio, the seating chart, even the custom wedding favors with QR codes that led to our digital guest book. My best man, Ryan Chen, was my college roommate from the University of Washington, and Lauren's sister, Brooke, would be her maid of honor. Everything was running like a perfectly managed project: timelines, deliverables, contingencies, and for once, the spreadsheet of my life looked flawless. If you enjoy stories about betrayal, revenge, and poetic justice, make sure to like and subscribe. There's something new here every day, each one a little darker than the last. The night before the wedding, I checked into the Fairmont Olympic Hotel downtown with my father. Mom stayed with Lauren and the bridesmaids at another hotel to keep tradition: the bride and groom not seeing each other before the big day. Dad and I ordered room service, double-checked the seating layout, and reviewed the ceremony flow. It was one of those quiet, rare father-son nights that you wish you could freeze in time. He poured us each a glass of bourbon and clinked his against mine. "To tomorrow," he said. "To tomorrow," I echoed. We talked about everything and nothing: about Seahawks football, about how nervous I'd been when I first met Lauren's parents, about the weather forecast for the ceremony. Around 10:30 p.m., Dad excused himself to use the restroom, leaving his iPhone on the table beside his coffee cup. That's when it happened. A notification popped up: just one message preview. I wasn't snooping, my eyes just flicked over naturally, like anyone's would. But what I saw made my blood turn to ice. The message was from Lauren. The timestamp said 10:28 p.m. Thank you for the unforgettable night, Daniel. The way your hands traced every inch of me still lingers. I can't wait to feel that again. You're extraordinary. P.S. Our little secret. Attached was a photo. I don't even want to describe it, but it left no room for misinterpretation. It was the two of them, together, in what was clearly a hotel room. The metadata would later confirm it had been taken the night before. For a moment, I thought maybe I was hallucinating. My brain refused to compute what my eyes were showing me. My hands trembled, but my instincts, the part of me trained to stay calm under pressure, kicked in. I took my phone, snapped photos of the messages and attachments, then locked the screen again. By the time Dad came back from the bathroom, I'd forced my face into something close to normal. He smiled, poured himself another drink. You good, son? Yeah, I lied. Just exhausted. He nodded, put a hand on my shoulder. Get some sleep. Tomorrow's the start of everything good. The irony of that sentence could have split the room in half. When he left for his own room, I sat there for what felt like hours. I stared at the wall, the phone screen, the carpet pattern, anything that wasn't the truth. Then the pattern started making sense. The late nights Lauren had blamed on client calls. The sudden trips Dad said were business in Portland. The inside jokes between them. The perfume Dad had complimented one I'd never noticed before. The way she'd light up when he entered a room. The signs had been there. I just didn't want to see them. I make a living spotting anomalies in code, catching things that don't belong. Yet in my own life, the biggest bug was right in front of me. I realized then that this wasn't about lust. It was about deceit, deliberate, rehearsed, and cold. They had planned to stand beside me the next day, smiling for photos, saying their vows and speeches, pretending nothing had happened. I could have confronted them that night. I could have called the wedding off, screamed, broken things. But instead, something colder, sharper, more calculated took over. I wasn't going to destroy the wedding. I was going to let the wedding destroy them. You may find it strange that I'm staying so calm, but I have a question for you. How much of your power do you have? Someone has lied to you or left you in the middle. Or treated you badly, or cheated on you. Yes, you've been wronged, so what do you do? Do you reward them? What do you mean? Why would I reward them? Am I crazy? But we usually do it without realizing it. On top of what he did to us, we gift him all our power. How? By putting all the responsibility on him. I had nothing to do with it. We say that you are so powerful that you can deceive me, leave me in the middle, cheat on me, mistreat me. You did all this alone. I am only a victim in this picture. And you are all powerful. Let's realize that we are glorifying the other party. On the contrary, if something bad has happened to us, it is wiser to keep all the power in ourselves. But how? By taking full responsibility. I let you do this to me. I didn't see the signals that this was going to happen to me. I didn't use good judgment. I didn't set my expectations well. It's all my fault. That sounds like a statement of weakness, but it's not. If it's made us wiser, it's the opposite. We've overcome something we didn't realize we lacked. No one can pull this stunt on us now. When you say that, you realize what power is. Nobody is perfect, everybody has shortcomings. That's where the power comes, when you accept that and start to address those shortcomings, not when you whine and play the victim. Now we can be grateful to the person who shows us our shortcomings, even at a cost. Because if someone had given us this warning, we probably would not have listened to them, but because we paid the price, it is much more likely that we will not experience the same now. Use all your power, don't give it to anyone, you need it. Years of project management had taught me one thing: if you want maximum impact, you plan for precision. By midnight, I was at my laptop. I uploaded every image and message to a secure cloud drive, encrypted and backed up. Then I built a simple web page, black background, white text displaying the screenshots in order, time-stamped and irrefutable. The header read: The truth about tomorrow. Next, I generated a QR code that linked directly to that page. I designed it to look elegant and innocent, as if it led to our wedding album. In the hotel's business center, I printed 200 small cards, each reading, "Scan for a special surprise from the bride and groom." They looked legitimate glossy paper, gold font, romantic cursive. The kind of thing couples include in their wedding favors. Then I called my lawyer, Alicia Park. She answered on the third ring, groggy but alert. "Ethan? What's wrong?" I told her everything calmly, like I was walking her through a client incident report. After a long pause, she said, "Don't sign anything tomorrow." "And Ethan? What you're planning?" "It's legal. Painful, but legal. Document everything. It'll be there quietly." Sometimes the best revenge is just the truth told out loud. By the time I hung up, it was 2 a.m. I didn't sleep. I sat by the window watching the city lights flicker on wet streets, thinking how fragile a life can be, how it can look perfect one minute and collapse silently the next. When dawn came, I showered, put on my custom Tom Ford tux, and stared at my reflection. The man in the mirror looked calm, almost regal. Inside, I was chaos, but organized chaos. Today, I wasn't the groom. I was the architect of revelation. The morning of my wedding felt like walking through a dream I no longer believed in. Seattle was cloaked in mist, the kind that blurs the skyline and makes the whole city look like it's holding its breath. I arrived at St. Andrew's Church early. The flowers were perfect, the candles were lit, and soft jazz played as guests began to fill the pews. Everyone was smiling, dressed in their best, carrying that effortless optimism people bring to weddings. I wasn't nervous. Not anymore. The storm had passed inside me during the night. Now, I was ice calm, deliberate, focused. My mother, Elena, looked radiant in her navy blue dress. She kissed my cheek and whispered, "Your father and I are so proud of you." If only she knew. Dad was doing what he did best, shaking hands, laughing, charming everyone within reach. Watching him made me feel something I couldn't quite name. It wasn't hatred. It was detachment. He had become a stranger wearing my father's smile. Then there was Lauren. She arrived in a pearl-white gown that cost $6,500, and for a moment, the whole room seemed to pause. Her hair was perfectly styled, her eyes glowing behind a thin veil. She smiled at me, that familiar soft smile, and whispered as she reached my side, "I can't believe this is really happening." Oh, it was happening. Just not the way she thought. Father O'Rourke began the ceremony with a gentle voice, welcoming everyone and speaking about love, commitment, and trust. The irony almost made me laugh. The audience listened with devotion, phones tucked away, faces full of warmth. Meanwhile, my wedding coordinator, Priya, moved silently through the pews, discreetly handing out the 200 QR cards I had given her that morning. She believed they were part of a digital guest book surprise for after the ceremony. Her timing was perfect. As the priest continued, people began to notice the cards. Some smiled curiously and scanned them. I could see the exact moment the first one loaded. Uncle Leo, sitting near the aisle, tilted his phone toward the light. Confusion first, then disbelief, then a look of sheer horror. He whispered something to cousin Maya, who scanned hers, gasped, and covered her mouth. Then her husband leaned in, then the people behind them, then across the aisle. Like dominoes, the realization spread. Screen by screen. Face by face. The energy in the church shifted subtly at first, then all at once. Whispers turned into murmurs, murmurs into rustling chaos. People began showing each other their phones, wide-eyed and pale. Father O'Rourke hesitated mid-sentence, sensing something was wrong but continuing out of habit. "Love," he said, "is built on trust, and trust is the..." He never finished the sentence. From the corner of my eye, I saw Aunt Denise show her phone to Lauren's mother, who froze, color draining from her face. Across the aisle, Mom scanned her card, smiling expectantly until her expression collapsed. She blinked twice, as if trying to erase what she saw. Then tears filled her eyes. Lauren hadn't noticed yet. She was facing the priest, nodding along, smiling serenely, completely unaware that the ground beneath her was disintegrating. Dad, sitting in the front row, began to shift uncomfortably. His charm evaporated. He glanced around, his brow furrowing as he realized the growing tension wasn't just wetting nerves. Then, chaos reached critical mass. Father O'Rourke looked at me, confused. "Son, is everything all right?" I took a slow breath. My heart was steady, my hands didn't shake. I stepped forward, toward the microphone. "No, Father," I said. My voice echoed through the church. "Everything is not all right." The room froze. Lauren turned to me confused at first, then uneasy, then terrified as she read the expressions behind her. "Ethan?" she whispered. I looked straight at her. "Lauren, I loved you. More than anything. I believed in you. And Dad." I turned toward the front row, locking eyes with him. "That I believed in you even more." He half stood, face red, panic dawning. "Ethan, let's not." "Sit down," I said, voice low but sharp enough to cut marble. He froze. Every eye was on us. The silence that followed felt heavier than air. Even the children had stopped fidgeting. I raised my phone. "For those who haven't scanned it yet," I said, "feel free to. You'll see exactly why this ceremony is over." Lauren's knees wobbled. "Ethan, please, it's not what. It's exactly what it looks like," I said evenly. "The two people I trusted most decided to betray me and my mother. And they thought they could stand here today, smiling, pretending. But truth has a funny way of showing up when you least expect it." Gasps rippled through the pews again. My mother was silently crying now, her hands covering her face. Lauren's sister, Brooke, stood frozen beside her, bouquet trembling. My father looked like he'd aged 20 years in 5 minutes. I turned back to the priest. "I won't be marrying anyone today, Father. But I wanted everyone here to witness the truth. Because secrets like these don't deserve privacy, they deserve exposure." And with that, I set the microphone down. The noise erupted instantly: cries, whispers, shuffling feet, phones buzzing. I walked down the aisle slowly, deliberately. No music played. No one tried to stop me. The only sound was the echo of my own footsteps against the church stone. At the doors, I turned once, looking back. Lauren was sobbing, her makeup streaked down her face. My father tried to reach for her hand, but she pulled away, shaking her head. My mother was being held by Uncle Leo, her face buried in her hands. Outside, the October air was sharp and clean. Freedom doesn't always feel good at first, sometimes it just feels empty. My best man, Ryan, caught up with me on the steps. "Jesus, Ethan," he said softly. "How are you even standing right now?" I looked at him, really looked at him, and for the first time in months, I felt something close to peace. "I guess the truth holds you up," I said. He nodded slowly. "What now?" "Now?" I exhaled, pulling out my phone. Now I hit send. I texted 2 words to Alicia Park. "It's done." She replied seconds later. "Witnessed." Head high. And for the first time in my life, I walked away from something burning, not in anger, but in clarity. By sunset, the story had already escaped the church walls. Someone uploaded the screenshots before I even reached the hotel. Within hours, Seattle's gossip circles had turned into wildfire. By midnight, it had a name. The QR code wedding. The post spread fast: Reddit threads, Facebook groups, local news blogs. By Sunday afternoon, #the wedding of truth was trending on X. I didn't say a word. I didn't need to. The evidence spoke for itself. Monday morning, a reporter from the Seattle Times emailed me. Her message read, "Mr. Morales, we understand this must be a difficult time. Would you like to make a statement?" I wrote back one line. Honesty doesn't destroy lives, lies do. That was it. It went viral within hours. By Tuesday, I was sitting in my office at Nimbus Guard, sipping burnt coffee while my phone buzzed non-stop. The story had hit national outlets. CNN, NBC, BuzzFeed, even YouTube drama channels. Everyone was talking about the man who exposed his cheating bride and father at the altar. I wasn't proud. But I wasn't ashamed either. Sometimes, truth doesn't set you free, it just stops you from sinking further. Lauren was fired from her firm by the end of that week. Her agency, the same one that branded itself around family values, couldn't handle the PR storm. Her boss called it a necessary separation. Her name became untouchable in marketing circles. My father's downfall was worse. Real estate in Seattle runs on one currency, trust. And when trust dies, reputation follows. His longtime clients dropped him overnight. His business partner of 15 years dissolved their firm by Thursday. By the end of the month, the Morales v. Finch Realty sign came down. Mom filed for divorce 2 weeks later. We talked one evening at her apartment, both of us exhausted but oddly peaceful. I could have forgiven a private mistake, she said softly. But to stand there to let you walk down that aisle knowing what they'd done. That's something you'll never understand. I didn't answer. There was nothing to say. We sat in silence, listening to the rain against the window. My lawyer, Alicia Park, handled the legal side like a surgeon. Since no marriage papers were signed, there was no divorce. Just loose ends. She managed to reclaim about half the deposits, the venue, the catering, even part of the Kauai honeymoon suite payment. She froze joint accounts, filed cease and desists against tabloids using my photos without permission, and shut down anyone trying to profit off my pain. She sent me one last email that ended with, "You're clean, Ethan. Financially and legally. Now go live." And I did. I took 2 weeks off from work. My boss, Karen Lee, called me in when I returned. "You know," she said, "most people would have folded. But you? You turned humiliation into a lesson. That's rare." I shrugged. "Guess I've always been good at crisis management." She smiled. "Take another week. Not because you need it but because you've earned it." I didn't. I went back to work. Solving problems was the only thing that still made sense. 3 months later, out of nowhere, I got an email from a recruiter at Apex Forge, a Denver-based AI company. They'd seen one of my conference talks from the year before and wanted to offer me a senior director position, double the pay, full relocation package. I accepted. Not because of the money. Because Seattle had become haunted. Before I left, Dad showed up at my condo. He looked older, smaller somehow. Guilt ages a man faster than time ever could. "Son," he said, voice trembling, "I've lost everything. Your mother, my name, you. I know sorry doesn't mean anything now, but I need you to know I am." I watched him for a long moment. All I could feel was pity, not forgiveness, not rage. Just the quiet emptiness of realizing someone you once idolized is just human and painfully flawed. "I forgive you," I said finally. His eyes widened, hopeful. "Not because you deserve it," I added, "but because I don't want to carry your sin anymore." He nodded, eyes glassy. We didn't hug. We just stood there in silence until he turned and left. 6 months later, Denver felt like another planet. The air was thinner, clearer, the kind that tastes like second chances. My new office at Apex Forge overlooked the Rockies. The horizon looked endless. I built a new routine. Work. Gym. Reading. Late-night walks through downtown. I started dating again, slowly, carefully. Every smile came with a little suspicion, but I was learning to trust in increments. Lauren faded out of public sight. Rumor had it she moved back to Wisconsin to live with her parents. My father took a small job at a real estate office in the suburbs. Their affair had crumbled almost immediately after the wedding. Apparently, betrayal doesn't survive daylight. The scandal became a story people whispered about at dinner parties. Did you hear about that guy with the QR code wedding? I'd smile politely when someone brought it up, but inside, I felt nothing. That chapter wasn't me anymore. The truth is, that day didn't destroy my life. It rebuilt it. Because sometimes, the worst thing that ever happens to you is just the universe clearing space for something better. And as I stood on my balcony one crisp night, the Denver skyline glittering below, I realized something simple. Revenge had never been the point. Freedom was. Thank you for staying with me through my story. If these words touched you, if they stirred something in you or made you reflect on your own journey, I ask only 3 small things. Like the video so others can find it. Leave a comment, share your story, or simply tell me what struck you the hardest. Subscribe because more stories are coming, and you won't want to miss what's ahead.